Welcome to today's video, guys. I'm Maryam, and in this episode we're going to explore pain and suffering. You see, pain, once unresolved, gains momentum and it becomes suffering. So suffering is a state of being, and our work is to break free from it. We want to validate pain, but we want to break free from suffering. That's the difference, and it is very crucial to realize and embrace this difference in life. Otherwise, we find ourselves suffering. And suffering, from my perspective, is also a form of conditioning, especially those of us who had a very tough upbringing, a very perhaps abusive childhood, a childhood that was very unsafe. We're so conditioned to reinforcing suffering in our lives. You see, the pain that we experienced is valid. But the question is, do we want to allow that pain to become our state of being, suffering? I'm going to give you an example, sharing my personal life. I was born into a second marriage, and I was the second child to my dad. So what I experienced was childhood neglect. My dad had a child from his first marriage, my brother. So all the attention had been given to him. Love, connection, attention. So for me to make sense of my presence was a very perhaps difficult journey, a big challenge. I was really saddened by the fact that I was the second child, especially how my mother was reinforcing it, reminding me of how my dad couldn't love me, that he wasn't available. And again, as I've said before, my mother was a borderline and also suffered from narcissism. So that reinforcement, being told repeatedly how my dad couldn't love me and he couldn't be available emotionally, made it very difficult for me to make sense of my presence. So I kept experiencing neglect. At the same time, I created narratives and perceptions that made my life much more difficult than what it needed to be. I was experiencing pain back in that childhood, but I allowed that pain to become the state of suffering. I allowed it to become my journey. How? I was seeking validation the whole time from external sources. I was trying to find approval in life. I wanted others to approve of me. I had such a hard time accepting other people's children if they had a child from an earlier relationship, from a different partner. That was very hard for me to accept, to embrace their journey. I was projecting my own lack of acceptance onto the world, finding faults in other people's kids, couldn't make sense of their lives. It was really difficult, and there were times that I was saddened by the neglect that I experienced. Really sad that why I had to be born into that dynamic, which never made sense from my human perspective. So you see, that neglect became the state of suffering. It also manifested itself in a way that I attracted unhealthy guys who weren't the right candidate to bring a child to this world with. Not only that, even the ones that were healthy weren't willing to value my desire for a baby. You see, deep down, I was suffering because of the neglect, the pain of that neglect that I experienced. I allowed it to become my state of being, and the reality outside of me kept manifesting itself in alignment with that pain, suffering, and more of it. So hopefully you find this video helpful, guys. Take a deep breath in and out. Realize who you are. It's a journey, but we can do it. We can arrive at who we are, embracing the wholeness of who we truly are. Keep shining your light. Look after your precious soul. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.